Actually, let me record Q&A again. So those people who were making 4,000, 2,000, or any sort of money, do you guys want to come unmute and talk about your experience? And raise your hands if you want to talk. And let's have, actually, let me ask you to unmute so you can start asking your questions. Okay, first question, Chick Ethan asks, which city is the best in terms of low life to live there as a new person? So, very good question. Best cities. The good thing is that, guys, if you don't want to talk, unmute yourself, like mute yourself, okay? And raise your hands if you want to talk, okay? So I'm gonna mute all of you, and for those who has raised their hand, I'm gonna let you unmute yourself, and we go from there. But let me answer this question first. Which city is the best in terms of, I think, low cost of living? That's the question. So it's interesting. I can talk to all the cities in Canada because I've lived everywhere. And by live everywhere, I mean, for some cities, I have lived years, like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. Some cities I've traveled and lived a few months, like Calgary, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. So I've seen everything. And the colder it gets, the cheaper it is. So if you want cheap cities, that means cold cities. If you go to Calgary, if you go to Edmonton, north of Calgary, it's cheaper, but it's really cold. If you go to Montreal, it's cheaper, but it's French and it's really cold. If you go to Waterloo, it's cheap. A lot of tech people go there. It's a good university. If you go to Windsor, it's cold, but it's cheap. So it all depends on what your expectation. But let's start with Montreal. Like Montreal is a good French city. It's cheaper than rest of Canada, and at the same time, it is still a city because a lot of time you go to Saskatchewan, for example, very small city. Nobody wants to go there. You go there and you hate your life and you hate your immigration decision, and you every day you wake up you want to go back. So don't do that, right? Um, so if you're working on site and you have the proof of income, can you apply to Canada for a visitor visa? You can always apply to visitor visa, guys. Like nobody is stopping you from getting a visitor visa, but it's all about programming Canada. If you apply to a visitor visa through a visitor visa, then you have to show that you want to go back to your country. This is very important. You need to prove that you want to go to your, versus in the digital nomad program, you don't have to prove you have to go back to your country. You actually are applying to digital, it's the same visitor visa, okay? But the program is digital nomad. That means you don't want to go back to your country. You want to live in Canada because you already know how to make money online. So that's the difference. You can always apply to visitor visa. The question is, do you get it or not? If you cannot prove that you go back to your country, you don't get it. But digital nomad program, on the other hand, you don't have to prove that you go back to your country. My interest is studying Canada. How do I get to know the appropriate school that suits me? Well, I'll go to, like, this is Google, guys. This is the appropriate school. Come on. You Google, you find the schools. There is applyboard.ca. Go to applyboard.ca. If you go to applyboard.ca, all the school information is there. Don't ask me. These are things that you need to learn on your own. Like finding schools is not a skill. It's just Google. Like what I'm talking about, how to approach these professors, like how to write emails, these are skills that I'm talking about. I'm teaching you skills. I'm not teaching you how to Google things. Like you need to already know about it, especially if you want to study. If you want to study, you don't know how to Google things, don't study them. So can I get for a warehouse job or a factory job from Nigeria? No, you cannot, because you don't have a work permit. You have to come to Canada first to get a work permit. So let me unmute those people who raised their hand. Mabibi Juliana, asked to unmute. Hello, my baby.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. So, thank you for this opportunity. My question is, what is the option on a visitor visa? Because there is too many kind of visitor visa. We are talking about the Nomad visa. I was offering a freelance job, but I want to know which kind of visitor visa that allowed to apply as a Nomad visa.
Okay. So, so I think the question is what kind of visa we get on a digital nomad. There's only one visa you get, and that is a visitor visa. So you guys either get a visitor visa or a work permit, or these are temporary stays, and then we have permanent stays, such as permanent residency and any sort of. Or you can get a business visa to come to visit like one of these exhibitions or do some sort of business. But when you apply to a digital nomad program, you get a visitor visa up to 6 months, and then you can extend it. That's how it works. Digital nomad is for only a visitor visa, right? But the fact is, when you know how to make, because it's all come down to making money, guys. You need to be able to make money. If you don't make money, Canada is hard to live. It's very expensive. So you first make money, you get a visitor visa, come to Canada, you can support yourself. Then, if you can get a job from a Canadian employer, you get a work permit. By work permit, why we say you need to get a work permit? Because when you get a work permit, you don't have to pay for insurance. If you're on visitor visa, you have to pay for insurance, and any emergency visit, hospital visit, doctor visit is very expensive. One visit is $1,000. So that's why you need to get work permit, so you don't have to pay for the medical. Medical becomes free. And also, if you have a work permit, that will make you eligible to become a permanent resident. That's the goal. You need to become a permanent resident so you can live in Canada whatsoever. So next question, Naful.
Sorry. Uh,
Yeah.
excuse me, Amy. I want just to say something. There is too many kind of visitor visa. There is a tourist visa, a family visit visa, and things like that. So, but I didn't see on the list the nomad visa. Can you please explain how
Well,
and where
yeah,
to find the nomad visa?
yeah. So there's not like all of these visa that you mentioned. There we don't have a family visa. They are all visitor visa. Okay, but the reason to get that could be family. To get visitor visa is a still visitor visa. So different reason you can get
Okay.
visitor visa. Family visit is one reason. Okay, digital nomad is another reason. Sightseeing, tourism is another reason. So the reasons are different. And I was telling you, for all of those reasons, you need to show that you want to go back to your country. For digital nomad, there is not a requirement like that. You don't say, I want to go back to your country. You say, I'm a digital nomad. That's the whole point, right? A digital nomad doesn't have a country. A digital nomad can work from anywhere in the world and support them. That's why there's 40 countries offering this visa. If you can make 10,000 a month remotely, you're welcome everywhere in the world. But as a visitor, to turn it to a work permit, you will find a company in that. Well, there's a better way as well. If you can make money online, when you come to Canada, you can create a company, and by that company that you create in Canada, you get a work permit to work for your own company. We call it self-employed program. Okay. So next question, let's go to Nafil. Ask on you.
Yeah, hi Amit. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with any experience or an RCSC consultant. So actually, I am currently working with a startup company, and the company is established in Finland, but they have another registered office in Singapore. So I have a project management professional certification, which was provided by PMI, and I have 4 years of experience in project management. And I also work in a Canadian software company last year, which was 6 months of experience remotely from Bangladesh. So my question is Bangladesh any applicant from Bangladesh can apply for digital nomad from Bangladesh? The number one. And number two, as currently I'm working in a startup company and my salary is not as like the 4,000 CAD or 4,000 USD. So can you please help me a little bit to tell me that how I can go through this process so that I can apply for digital nomad visa? And as I have experience and I have valuable certification on project management, so can it help me to get a visa or can relocate to Canada? So yeah,
Right.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So just one question. Your job is being done remotely?
Yeah, my last work, I worked when I worked in Canadian software company. It was also remote from Bangladesh, and currently where I am working, the office is based on Singapore. So I'm working from Bangladesh remotely.
Yeah, so to answer your first question, from Bangladesh, you can always apply. There's lots of Bangladesh people. Like usually East African, it's hard, but in Bangladesh, no, it's not because you can get your background check verified. It's easy to get that and to come to Canada. So no problem for Bangladesh citizens. That's your first. The second question, is your minimum income enough? So as I said, there is no bare minimum yet announced because digital nomad program, guys, you need to understand it's a very new program. And when it comes to immigration program, it's been always like that. If they introduce a program, then they will analyze if it works or if it doesn't work, or if it brings the kind of people they want, or if so. The moment immigration department introduce a new program, they keep analyzing it, changing it, or removing it. For example, a lot of new immigration program comes out after 6 months, they cancel. Okay, like a startup visa, they didn't cancel it, but there's been so many fraud in the system. Now they are taking it so hardly on people. Like they keep calling everybody, so and they rejecting applications. So digital nomad, on the other hand, is a very new. So before they put a certain minimum threshold on it, you have to jump on the opportunity. Because I know after 1 year, they will say, okay, you have to have minimum $7,000 to come here. But now we don't have that yet. So what you can do, you can probably show some savings. Say, hey, I'm making 2,000 from this job. I have this savings, the job, and you then put a projection. Most important piece of document on any immigration application that you put is the letter. You have to put the letter. In that letter, you have to say, my job has been making me 2,000, but the projection for this job, if I relocate to Canada, is 10,000. Why? Because I will have access to the time zone of Canadian and I can get more jobs, for example. Okay. So when you do this, Canadian officer look at you and say, this guy know what he's talking about. This guy is what we need, because what Canada needs, professional IT men who know how to develop businesses. That's what we need here, right? That's the whole idea behind all this startup visa, all this work permit visa, now digital nomad. So the whole idea is we want to bring legitimate people, and all those startup people was filled with fraudulent people who haven't worked a day in their life and they just create paperwork. But in the digital nomad is different. When you say I'm making money from Bangladesh working with UK, that means you understand the technology, you understand how the working works, right? So now just put that in the paper. Show that you are a legitimate IT man who's been working for a while, and how you know how things work, and you want it as an opportunity, because even you get a digital nomad, it's 6 months, right? So you come here 6 months, you try the market, you try to grow your business, and you have definitely a big chance to get that visitor visa here.
Okay, one thing I want to add, like if I have, as I have my uncle living in Winnipeg, Manitoba, so is that can help me anyway?
The only way that like that's not for visitor visa. So when you want to get the permanent residency, guys, every province has its own program. For example, if you want to use any provincial program for Manitoba, then
Hmm.
a family member give you some points, right? It's not a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah,
but it has to be your family. If it's a friend,
yeah.
it won't work. So the only way that these friends can help you is that by referral. Like I was telling you my story. I don't know if you were at the beginning. I was telling you a story. A friend of mine helped me with an introduction to a person, so that person understand I'm real, right? So
Hmm.
the only
Hmm.
way you can use your friends is that if you're talking to a company, send your friend there so they can see, okay, this guy sent someone, he's real, he's legitimate, rather than
Oh,
all these,
okay.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
because
So
there's so many
I can
scams,
send
right?
my, yeah. So I can send my cousin with my resume so that my cousin can place my resume there. Like who is searching for a project manager, and I am qualified for this position. Then may I can use this process?
So your cousin, you can mention in your application, I'm applying to a visitor visa because I'm working this, and I don't have to pay for residence because I will live with my cousin, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
that alone will remove $3,000 per month requirement for your money. Then you will just say, I'm just gonna spend for my living costs, and I will gonna pay a share to my cousin. So that way you can justify your low income with the hope of coming to Canada and get a bigger income.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you, Amit. Thank you for your full explanation. Thank you so much for
No
your time.
problem. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Momster, I'm gonna ask you to unmute. Momstar. Okay, I'll go to next. Gayatri.
Can you hear me, please?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
who's talking? Momstar. Okay, hey, Momstar.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah. Okay, thank you for this opportunity. The section is really insightful. My name is Blessing. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a social media marketing specialist. I have 2 years of experience. I work remotely. I have some companies I'm freelancing for, and I also have a full-time employment. I'm really interested in visit digital nomad visa Canada, but from what I read on the site, the RCC site, I was told that I'm only allowed to stay in Canada for 6 months at a stretch, and then I'll go back to my home country. So I know you've shed a little light on it, but I'd like to know more of the how easy is it for me to transit from how easy for me to get a work permit, or if there will be no need for me to get a work permit, but if there will be a need to get a work permit and then transit to a work visa, I would like to know how easy can I get that. And then I've been hearing a lot of stuff like getting a job in Canada isn't easy, so a lot of people are complaining. So I just want to know my chances. I'm also a family person. I have kids. I want to know if my children will be eligible for a study visa, and if my spouse will be able to get a temporary work permit
Right. Okay.
also.
So
And then,
these are too many questions. These are every question you ask is like 10 minutes explanation, but I'll try to answer you all very quick. So
okay.
let me start with your first question. I'm going to put you on mute. So first question you asked is that I'm a digital marketer and it says it's 6 months, I have to go back. So again, the idea of digital nomad is that to bring talented people to Canada and give them the opportunity to find a job with a Canadian employer. A lot of people, as you said, they say we cannot find a job because they are not skillful. A lot of Canadians here, they get a job, they leave the job after 3 months. Canadians right now, there is a big problem with the employers to find good talent, like good talent. Good talent doesn't exist. Just I'm telling you, if you're a good talent, easy to find a job. What do I mean by that? Good talent has a good resume. Good talent knows how to promote himself. Good talent knows how to write an email, know how to approach. If you're a good talent, you already do that. And employers, managers, they can detect. They see 20 resume per day. They see 200 resume per day. They get approached by a lot of people. They know. if you approach someone, if you're professional, they know right off the bat. And if you're good, you have a chance to get a job. For your second question, how to turn a visitor visa to a work permit, you just need a legitimate job offer. If you're good at what you do, virtual job, I showed you, go to Indeed, convince an employer that you can work for them, get a job offer. By that job offer, you get a work permit. And if you have a work permit, then your kids can join you. With a visitor visa, you cannot register your kids in a school. You can always register your kids in a school, but you cannot bring them here. You have to apply another visa for them. But if you get a work permit, they become dependent on you, so they can come with you and register to a school. So, and then your husband also can be dependent. So one person can, in a family, can sponsor all other family member with the spouse and the kids, as long as they're under 21 years old. Okay. So I hope I answered your question. But the digital nomad, yes, it is still a visitor visa, but it's an opportunity for IT men to come here and try to find a job with a Canadian employer. Again, it's virtual, so you don't have to be here to find a job with a Canadian employer. But the caveat is, when you in Canada, you are in the same time zone as those employers. So it's easier to work virtually with the Canadian employers when you're in the same time zone, and it will give you more exposure to the culture here, because culture is everything. If you're working in a like Bangladesh, the culture of work is probably different than when you work in UK and you work in Canada. So if you're in Canada, you learn the culture, and that way you can build your life. I hope I answered your question. And so let's go to the next question. Gaia 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for this opportunity. So my case is I'm a reporting analyst, or rather business intelligence analyst. In my recent job, it's been like 2.5 years experience in this role, and I'm applying for a family visit through the visit visa. And so since I want to stay there, I'm looking for job opportunities, and I'm trying to network with recruiters through LinkedIn. But still, it's still difficult. I couldn't find the right connections. So I'm asking you whether do you help people with to get the LMIA job and help them to convert it to work visa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So so your question is, do we help with LMI, or how can help you to find a job, right? So let me put it this way. So when you want to get a job, right, you have to contact a lot of people on a daily basis, network with them, find the person who's interested in your skill set, and then you get a job, right? That's a full-time work sometimes. So you have to wake up every day, go to LinkedIn, talk to these people, send information, network. If you do it for 3 months, then if you call it a full-time job, right, it has value. So somebody's supposed to be paid to do that. So there are two types of recruiters. Recruiters who charge the employer, who usually deal with highly skilled people. They just go find this high skilled people, they give it to employer, they get 1 month of their salary from the employer. The second type of employers are the recruiters, who do all this legwork of contacting different people on a daily basis. So it's their full-time job. They charge you a lot. Okay. They say, okay, I find you a job, an analyst position, because I have a network of employers. I've been doing this for 3 years. I know everybody in town. I can find you a job, but I charge you and I charge them. Okay. So in this case, they charge you, not employer. They charge you, they get your money, they put in their pocket because they've been doing this as their job. They also pay employer as a bonus. Hey, employer, you can get somebody from Canada, now go hire Gayatri. Why would I do that? I give you a bonus and I'm referring you Gayatri. it's illegal, but recruiters are doing it, right? It's by immigration law, it's illegal. You're not supposed to charge people to give them a job. But they do that because they are working on your behalf. So think of it as a consultant. I know a lot of recruiters doing that, but we don't work with them. We don't get involved in that because it's illegal. We cannot get involved with that. But it's up to you to find those employers, and the keyword to find those, but be careful. A lot of them are scammers. They get your money, they don't reply to you, right? But the keyword to find those, you should look for certified recruiters. They call certified recruiters on LinkedIn. Certified Canadian recruiters. Always make sure they're certified, get their number, check on their website. Similar to immigration consultant, CIC number that you can check on the college website to make sure that somebody is regulated Canadian consultant. There is a similar process for registered recruiters, right? So if you find those recruiters, they usually charge you $40,000, $50,000. They're not cheap, very expensive, but they give you a job that pays well. So up to you if you want to go that way. We don't do that. So you have two options. Either you have time, you do it yourself, you talk to 300 people per day, or you don't have time, you have money. You pay somebody else who has time to do this for you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, since you're a consultant, I'm asking whether your team is, helping people with the LMIA job findings.
All we do is that we teach you how to find jobs on your own, because we don't have resources to look for you, right? Even if we had, it would be very expensive for you, right? So we don't want to do that because not everyone, first of all, can pay $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Second of all, it's illegal. Third of all, it's easier if you find a job yourself, but you just need to learn the skills. And the whole idea behind what we do, of all this education webinars, is that to teach people the skills necessary to become on their own. Because even if a recruiter helps you get the first job, what are you going to do with the second job? What if you come here, you don't like your job, right? So you need to learn how to fish instead of getting the fish.
Because I try Indeed a lot. So on a daily basis, I keep on applying it. But all the companies are expecting someone who is in Canada with a work permit, legally able to work.
That's
so
right.
No,
that's right. You need to like, that's why I'm saying use the digital nomad program so you can come to Canada. Once you are in Canada, they will trust you better. Once you have a Canadian phone number, same time zone, they say we want you in Canada. Then you just get the job offer, get the work permit. So once you're in Canada, you don't say I don't have a work permit. You say, okay, you give me job offer, I give you work permit. Because that's how it works.
That I mentioned that in my cover letter, saying that if you are giving the job offer, I'll be aligning with my immigration lawyer and do the LMIA process and work permit as well. But still, I haven't get a call
because
back.
they're not looking for headaches, right? So if you explain all this in your cover letter, they will actually stay away from you because they know, hey, oh, I have to deal with the lawyers, I have to deal with this, I have, like, the more you do that, the less opportunity you get with the employer. So you have to stay away from all of these things. You don't talk about your immigration status with the employer because they are avoiding headaches. You just tell them, I know this skill. Like, talking about immigration status is the last thing in the process, because the moment you mention you don't have it, they won't allow you. They won't even talk to you. So you always talk about your skill first. You make sure they like you. You talk to the manager, and also Indeed is not a good way to apply to jobs. Indeed is a good way to learn about jobs. Once you learn about some jobs on Indeed, you have to go find the manager of that company on LinkedIn and talk to the manager. Never apply on Indeed, right? Indeed is just it's just a well of all these resumes that get swamped on and dumped. Like, it's a how can I put it? It's a landfill of resumes, right?
Right.
It's not good place, like it's not a good place to get attention. It's just learn which companies are hiring, then go find those companies elsewhere. Find on a different medium, find them on LinkedIn. Even LinkedIn right now, it's too crowded. Like go to their website, find the personal email address of the manager. Pay these directory, like there's a bunch of directories out there, give you information of people to their phone number. Like you can find my personal phone number if you pay a directory out there on Google, right? So that's how you should approach things. You have to go and find the decision maker and talk to them and convince them that you are skillful. And believe it or not, if somebody called my personal phone, I know they're skillful. How on earth they have been able to find my phone? That means a skill, right? So if you do that, they will like you. And talking about immigration is the last step in the process, because worst case scenario, if they like you, they give you a job offer.
Okay.
Right? So don't bring it up in the beginning. Nobody talks to you.
Sorry.
Okay.
So even if I'm in Canada and let's say I get a call for an interview, are you advising not to bring it up that I don't have a job
Don't bring
offer at
up your
the
status. Don't just talk about the skills. Talk about how you can solve a problem in that company. Talk about how good you are, and then you go to next probably 2-3 interviews. Pass all of them, get the yes, and then say, okay, now I need a job offer so I can send you my work, right? So that's the last step. Once you sell yourself, you can talk about your weaknesses. But now first, you don't talk about weaknesses, you talk about strengths. Easy.
But still, when I try to apply through the their web portal,
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. I have 2 more people to answer, and we have 5 minutes left. Okay, so I think we have to move on. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Alvin, and then I'm gonna answer Alvin. I'm gonna answer Amar, and then we're gonna finish this conversation. Alvin, go ahead.
Yes, here is good evening. I'm a teacher now. I'm a teacher. I've been in the army for 12 years. Now I'm a teacher. My question is, if you go, you're looking for a visa like the digital mark, and you get it. Um, um, how guarantee they can tell me that I can go. Um, next question is you say you have to have $2,000, or you have to show them that you have money. You can correct. You can show me the two. If I say something that's not true, you have to show them that you have what money. And here in my country, where I live, you can pay with digital money, but you can receive with digital money. What you can advise me, what I can do with this? I can receive, I can pay with digital money, but I can receive it.
Okay, let me
PayPal
talk
and
about
all.
this, Alvin, because we are running out of time. So let me mute you and explain the whole thing about this. So how to prove you receive money, guys? So again, yes, digital money. I know about digital money. Actually, digital money, you cannot prove so many things. It's not very well recognized in Canada. That's why in the questionnaire that you register for this webinar, we mentioned you need to have a PayPal account or a Stripe account, because these platforms are worldwide recognized. It's recognized by government. So when you have a PayPal account, I don't know how you do it in your country, but that is the only way. You need to find a way to open a PayPal account to receive money. If you receive your money on PayPal, then you can print that and put it on your application and show to government, I'm receiving legitimate money. But if you receive your money in your local currency, that's not even a virtual job. Like virtual job not supposed to be in your country. Well, it could, but if you come to Canada and then you want to do your virtual job in your own country, Canada says, okay, why would you even bother? Like stay in your country and work there. The idea is virtual job is that you are able to get jobs from everywhere in the world. Like right now, I'm talking to people in Nepal, in Bangladesh, in East Africa, in Europe, in America. Like I'm talking to you guys from all around the world. And if you guys pay something on my website, it shows that I'm doing virtually from everywhere in the world, and the money goes to my website, then goes to the PayPal or goes to Stripe. And I print it and I show it to immigration. Hey, I'm receiving money from everywhere. So that's the whole idea behind virtual marketing job, whatever you do. You need to be able to get money from worldwide, or at least 2-3 countries. And the way to show that, you need to have a PayPal, guys. If you don't have a PayPal, it's not a legitimate virtual job, because everything comes down to how much money you make. And again, you asked about what is the minimum threshold. There is no set threshold, but you have to be able to have enough money to support yourself in Canada. And the minimum money in Canada is $4,000 for one person. You need to make $4,000 at least so you can live in Canada. So find a job that pays you, find a skill, not a job. Find a skill that you can get. Like, do you know what my video editor makes? My video editor, I didn't pick him. He once a day he found me on LinkedIn and he sent me some samples. He said, I would be happy to do your videos, and he sent me some samples without me asking. He just did the work on his own, and now he's making more than $4,000 per month just by editing videos. He's sitting in somewhere, I don't know, in Middle East, in Turkey, right? So it was his skill sets that made him to become a video editor, and then his skills in sales and persuasion to convince me I can be your editor. And once he became my editor, he was able to do a lot of edits, make a lot of money, and repeat the same process for other people. Right? He does that for a few other people in different parts of the world, and he earns money. So it's a skill. Once you have this skill, you just need one PayPal account. One skill, one PayPal account. Approach people, say to them, give them samples. They like your job. They send you money over PayPal. It's safe for them. They're not risk, because nobody is going to send money to your bank account. But it's easy for people to send money to your PayPal. It's secure. And if you have PayPal, it shows that you are a legitimate person. Because if you were not legitimate, PayPal wouldn't give you accounts. PayPal is very strict. You have to connect so many of your documents and your bank to PayPal. So as long as you open a PayPal account, that means you are good and you're legitimate. So I have to stop this